Yo, what's up gamers? My name is Fox, welcome to another video. Today I'm going to talk about Witchhunter slash mercenary in Path of Exile 2. I currently got around nearly 300 hours on it, and I've been no-lifing the Witchhunter in my SSF playthrough. I'm doing tier 15, I haven't even done the final boss because crafting currently is pretty difficult. It's gambling. But the other reason is because I'm playing Witchhunter probably. Like, I am suspecting it more and more. I've been trying a lot of stuff, and in this video I want to talk about what's wrong with Witchhunter and what's also wrong with like the skills of Crossbow and Crossbow in general. So first off, I have this bug for anyone that wonders. If you play with click movement, I need to change my scene. Here we go. If you play with click movement, sometimes your character auto aims at a target, and then it will move backwards while aiming at the target, and it will take a long time to actually turn around and hit where you're shooting. Horrible bug. It's annoying, and it killed me many times. Other bug that is tied to reloading: if you have very low reload speed, the reload animation kind of is janky. It sometimes works, sometimes it doesn't. When you roll, it resets. There's a lot of stuff, like I don't know if that's a bug, but there's a lot of stuff with reloading that's currently very janky, very unfun to play. High attack speed, high reload speed is the way to go. Otherwise, it's just not fun to play with the Crossbow. Then the other issue that Crossbow has is absolutely the amount of skills that you can choose from. So these are the Crossbow skills. I'm going to quickly go over them and if they're useful or not. This is all from a tier 15 map point of view, kind of. Tier 15, 16, 14, whatever. Endgame and bossing kind of POV. So let's talk about them quickly. Fragmentation round is pretty fun to use, can be useful. I'm now trying to work on something that makes this maybe viable. Is it good endgame? No. Armor piercing rounds, just overall not good. Permafrost bolts is what I'm using right now. They work with Herald of Ice to just clear screens for me. So I would say they're useful. Explosive grenade, obviously. All grenades, by the way, are useful. I'm not going to go over them. They're all pretty decent. Grenades is very strong and very good. High velocity rounds, yeah, endgame very useless. Incendiary shot, probably same as permafrost, just that fire currently is pretty bad in my opinion. From Herald of Ash over to other things on the tree that we have, it doesn't feel that great. Rapid shot feels also useless. Ice shards, extremely useless. Galvanic shards, best shard kind of ability, really strong. Fires fast, has 5 bolts in the ammo chamber and whatnot. It's really strong, and most of all the reason it's strong, it's lightning, and something I'm going to talk about later, but lightning is currently busted. Ballista and 2 ballistae are, well, they exist. Explosive shot has some uses if you play grenade or if you play some other build with the head of the 3 dragons, I think it's called, so it's pretty decent. Glacial bolt, I wish this would be good. It is not bad, but it needs some tweaking. And Stormblast bolts, horrible. Hailstorm rounds, horrible. Siege Cascade, horrible. Shockburst round, obviously busted as hell right now against bosses that are shocked. Crazy damage. Plasma Blast, quite good. I like it. Yeah, needs some tweaks in my opinion to be perfect. Like, it's a bit too long, right, the charge up. I feel like it should, like, the damage should scale with the time that you charge up, so you can fire it early for less damage or something along those lines would be amazing. Cluster grenades are okay. So I have reasons why I say these things about these skills. I tried most of them out. I tried most of them to make them work in some form or way, but it never actually worked, and that's the problem. The only thing that currently works are for Witchhunter specifically. I'm not talking about gambling. Gambling has way more options because it is gambling, but for Witchhunter and Crossbow together, you can also play Witchhunter with some other weapon, but then we're talking about something completely different. So I'm talking about Crossbow, Witchhunter. You can only play either a nade build, which is pretty strong but feels at some point very slow, or you can play a lightning build, which is really busted right now, but guess what? You're better off playing it on Ranger because it's just better than Witchhunter right now, and you're better off playing it on Gambling too. And then the Head of the 3 Dragons, Explosive Shot, Shock kind of conversion build, also better on Gambling, can be played on Witchhunter. Basically, anything you can play is nearly better always on Gambling right now, which is really sad. Now, let's talk about why that is. And this is one of the big reasons why the Ascendancies, they are fun, but kind of useless. So we're not weapon master, more skill points for weapon set. Yeah, I mean, if you want to make a crazy build with 2 weapons and if you play Trade League, this might be good because you can buy 2 really strong weapons that like focus, that have both high physical damage, and you can make things work this way. Me in SSF, I cannot afford that. I cannot do that, so this is out of the question. I cannot have 2 high physical damage weapons to make 2 different skill sets that work. Obviously, I could change to a different weapon for bossing, stuff like that. It might have its uses that I don't know yet. But for me right now, there's no instant reward from this. It feels like it's something that could be useful if you really play around it for like a lot of investment. Then we have obviously here Culling Strike and Decimating Strike. Super fun, great stuff for mapping. Early game, really good. I really enjoy these nodes. I think they're really fun. It just makes a lot of things feel better and you clear faster with it. Then the middle node, which is Witchbane and No Mercy, feels really lame. I don't know. It just doesn't feel like it does a lot, to be honest. I tried it for a while on bosses, the concentration thing. I don't know. It just feels like it's like weird. I'm gonna be honest. It doesn't feel great. And then obviously the ward, the sorcery ward, and unfortunately, I feel like sorcery ward is the only way to make a decent survivability Witchhunter right now with Cloak of Flame, and the problem is that it is too much of a payoff for what you get. Like, I am only playing with this because I don't know how else to survive in maps, because I cannot go for acrobatics, because you don't get the evasion on Witchhunter, I believe, in my opinion. I tried it, I played it with a lot of evasion. I had I think 85, 84 with acrobatics, and you still die a lot to bosses and stuff like that. It just doesn't feel good. Not saying this feels better, but this, if you would have less of a penalty for armor and evasion rating, or more effect of the sorcery ward in case you run a Cloak of Flame, I feel like this would be great. But otherwise, it's just, yeah, or maybe these nodes be higher or something. Maybe, unironically, barely any form of payment for this, because I feel like you want to have a shield for all the AoE stuff that's flying at you and elemental stuff, but you're giving up physical damage mitigation for it, which is currently really difficult to come by, right? Because armor is really bad. Evasion is good if you can stack it like crazy, but Ranger is better at that because of tree and because of class and whatnot. So we're kind of stuck in this something in between, which I want to mention later again. And then lastly, probably the coolest node this class has, which is Zealous Inquisition, 10% chance for enemies that you kill to explode. It's fun as hell. I love using this. I really do. I think it's great. There's one problem with it. The problem is that it's too inconsistent. If you want to make a build that cannot clear maps, but you want to then say, hey, I'm going to use Zealous Inquisition to clear the maps, it will not work. 10% is just not enough. It needs to go up to like 25% or something, so that you have a higher chance of these explosions happening, because right now it cannot consistently make up for lack of AoE damage, and it's just something that's really fun to use. It's not useful, it is fun though, if that makes sense. Like, I cannot use it right now because this needs to be fully, like, if you don't spec fully in this, you cannot use it, and Decimating Strike is way more useful than Zealous Inquisition could be ever. In my opinion, depends on what you play. Obviously, if you have a build that can kill white mobs instantly, Zealous Inquisition might be better, right? Depends on those things. But again, most senses feel a bit questionable. I feel like Culling Strike for Witchhunter should have the change that it is, again, like it was in PoE1, where the damage is counted in your hit, basically. So right now, if you don't know exactly what I mean, is that, for example, for white mobs, you need a threshold of... Why is this not working? I don't know why. Oh, I need to hover over it. I'm so... Sorry. So it says here, Culling Strikes kill normal enemies if their life is at 30% or below. Now, the important sentence here is that these thresholds are checked before the damage of the hit is applied. So that means that they need to be at 30% or below before your next shot. Now, you can get Culling Strikes in the game, right? With some unique, I think it is, or with attrition. against bosses, and I feel like for Witchhunter they should have the effect that Culling Strikes is applied like the opposite way, basically, right? That it's applied after the damage. So if your damage makes a mob go to 30%, it should kill it. I think that would be a great change for Witchhunter, for example. It's just one of many changes this class needs. But let's talk about the worst thing about Witchhunter, and that's this mess here. This whole tree here Witchhunter has is really bad. Like, it's, if you compare it, like, I haven't looked a lot into what's up here. Like, I don't play these classes. I looked a bit into what Monk is playing and how they're doing, and that tree is disgusting. Like, there is some nodes that are just straight up insane. Like, where's here? I'm sorry, I'm already going, what is this? 24% increase evasion rating and increase maximum energy shield. They get both the best of both worlds, evasion and energy shield, for example, and we're stuck here with nodes like 20% armor and evasion and stun threshold. Like, this is even a good node. This is actually one of the good nodes, I would say, with this here. But there is so much bad stuff in this tree that really, really bothers me, and that needs to be changed for this class to actually work properly. There is so many nodes that are just straight up useless unless you play gambling. For example, one of the worst nodes, or two of the worst nodes, is minion stuff. Minions deal more damage. Why is there minion stuff in this tree? Like, no offense to minion players, but they're not going to path into this node. I don't see that happening. Like, it's not going to happen. You're not going to play a minion build with a fucking Witchhunter. Here the same. Like, this is next to, I don't know what this is. I think it's warrior or something. I'm not sure what is in this class here, but they're not going to play minions. So why is this here? What sense does this node make here? Then there is so much one-handed weapon stuff. This is now dual wielding, so not like anything dual wielding. Here is one-handed melee weapons. Then there is more melee weapon stuff here, or one-handed weapons. Like, there is so many nodes. Like, here's shield nodes. There is just a lot of nodes that are good when you don't play the intended way with Witchhunter. Like, if you inspect this tree, you will find that there is barely any useful nodes for Crossbow, actually. There is this node here that is two-handed weapon damage, which is the Crossbow, right? But that's about it. There is not much else that, besides the ones that I currently have taken, that's projectile damage a lot. But this tree really doesn't support Crossbow a lot. It supports everything else, and I think this is due to gambling, because gambling obviously needs, to excel doing everything possible. I don't know exactly. But these nodes are just kind of lame. And the problem goes on with the defense, right? Because defense, currently, I mean, I hope this will change soon after I have recorded this video. Armor is in a really bad state, so playing hybrid feels a bit bad. I currently don't have a lot of defensive nodes checked because I just don't think it's worth to invest into defense. Something that's dead cannot kill you is currently my motto. And I hope, like, I could just spec up here, but I feel like that should not be the solution, right? It's not the solution to just ignore the class, because pretty much whatever I would play it more efficiently on a different class, because our senses on Witchhunter are just bad, and because the tree is just pretty bad. Like, Ranger has way more nodes that are just really good in terms of evasion, stacking, and whatnot. Most builds currently for Witchhunter that go for evasion, they take this whole tree here with the equipped rating from body armor, because this is very good. But I feel like it's coping. I generally feel like it is not really working out. I tried it, you still die a lot. And the hybrid build also isn't working. My build isn't working either. I don't know. I feel like people that play Witchhunter right now are just coping with some half-assed evasion build, basically, instead of just armor being fixed. Because I think if armor is fixed, it might actually work with a hybrid build. But overall, the worst problem with this is this tree. Like, for example, another issue I have is that currently, I'm sorry, I'm talking too fast and I'm just stumbling over my words, but a really big issue is that lightning is really strong, right? Like, most also Ranger builds, like a lot of builds revolve around lightning, and that is because there are a lot of lightning nodes here. This is like lightning based, these are lightning nodes, elemental nodes. Here we have lightning nodes. There's lightning nodes. We have some more here that you don't really grab, but you can also grab the ones here. Like, lightning nodes are actually in an accessible range. But if I'm playing currently a cold build, I'm trying to make it work, there's not a single cold node anywhere. Like, I'm not kidding. There's not a cold node on this whole tree, neither on this side. The only cold nodes I can even spot are here, which are really big commitments. And the cold nodes over here, which are okay only, and then over here. That's the cold nodes that I like. Like, look at this pathing here. I'm just trying things out. This is really meme. It's because it gives me more damage against frozen enemies, and I freeze enemies a lot. So it's just like, I'm just trying out things, obviously. So take this, like, don't look at this tree as a finished thing. I'm just saying that the tree needs a lot of changes. See here again, one-handed melee weapons. It's probably because there is supposed to be some other class that will join here, I would say, on this part of the tree, I assume, because the melee stuff is on this side. I would guess so. Like, I assume so. But right now, this tree is just awful. Like, it's really bad, in my opinion. The tree is just not great. There's a lot of times where I get a node for free, and then I'm like, where do I even put this? Where do I put this, you know? Like, I just don't know. I just don't know. It's just like, these nodes here, if you see like 3% increased movement speed and 30% increased evasion rating, what does Witchhunter get? We get movement speed and we get attack speed. Like, we cannot even like get defensive stuff. So yeah, and then on top of that, like the whole changing your... changing the ammunition for your crossbow is also something that feels pretty bad. There's a lot of things that feel really not finished about this class. I love playing it still. I am just getting a bit more fed up with it slowly, I can tell. And I really hope, I am coping very hard that soon the new patch comes and we'll see some changes to this class, because it just is a bit sad how low how the build variety is really low on this class right now. And I've been trying so much. Like, it's everything always is the same. It's attribute stacking and shit like that, or it's lightning, basically. It's something along those lines that always comes up, and that's, I think, just kind of sad, you know. So yeah, and obviously, if you guys disagree with me, like, feel free to say so. Now, please make sure if you do that, you think about tier 15. I've seen a lot of builds that are like campaign builds, tier 1 maps and stuff like that. And I don't take that into account as a proper build, obviously. Let me know how you feel about Witchhunter. And if you continue playing it or if you don't play it. Like, I just want to know what other people think. I'm just very frustrated. Maybe it's because I'm SSF and my bow is just like, it's like 480 physical damage. Not my bow, my crossbow. I just haven't found a better one. I am serious. The crafting is so bad in this game right now. I wasn't able to make a better one yet. Farming greater essence for a tier 1 physical role is fantastic. I love it. All right. I think that's everything for now. Thank you a lot for watching and listening to my rant. Hope you appreciate it. And I'll see you in the next video. Hopefully with an update on Witchhunter and how it's now amazing.